Okay, hi everybody. I'm so happy to be home. Well, actually, I wish I was still in Maui, but I'm happy to be home anyway. I had a great time. I really have to say that I recommend self-care. It's been a while since I actually took some time away just from the daily life, and going to Maui is always my happiest place on earth, and I absolutely love everything about it. But what it does for my head and what it does for just calming my brain and just being able to really focus on the things that I feel most passionate about really clears that up. And I got to read, and that's what I get to share with you today, some of the things that I got to do while I was on my little vacay. First and foremost, this slide is so cool because it says going on a gratitude walk. I met this really great lady um, over in Napili, which is where I go every year for the last like 25 years. I recommend it to everybody. It's the most amazing place. And it's a bay in Maui. And anyway, I met this lady. It's so funny how, you come across people. And she was the wife of this guy that we had actually met while we were kind of walking around Napili, the hotel. And she and I started to talk about things. We have the kids about the same age. And she said, and I said, well, I'm full of gratitude about lots of things. We just started talking. She goes, well, I go on a gratitude walk every day. And I thought that was so cool. I said, well, she goes, yeah. And when I'm on my gratitude walk, I have my earphones in and I'm listening to music and I'm thinking about all the things that I'm grateful for every single day. And I just love that time where I go on a gratitude walk. And I thought, that's so inspiring. I love that. And so I did the same thing. I started going on gratitude walks while I was there in Maui. And so I suggest it to all of you. Okay, so I read this great book while I was there. My husband, Robert, actually, you all know Robert. He was the one who actually told me to read it. And the reason why is he was recommended to it from a real estate person and said, this is one of the books in real estate that everyone should read. And so I read this book. And on the way of reading this book, I started to also really kind of research why positive affirmations work, why it's important to have affirmations in your life. Why is it that, all of these books that I read and all of these people that speak talk about positive affirmations? And so I wanted to put this slide together for you so that you could read it and really understand why people tout affirmations so much. And interestingly enough, a lot of times when we first find out about affirmations, we do the Anderson Cooper roll of the eye here. He did that the other day on CNN, and they captured it. And I always say when anyone rolls their eyes, I go, oh, you're doing an Anderson Cooper on us. But really, when it comes to affirmations, you can write down affirmations, you can say them, but if you're only saying them and then in your head you're going, this is so stupid, I don't know why I'm saying this isn't working, this doesn't work, this is weird, people do this for no reason. If that's going on in your head while you're doing your affirmations, it doesn't work. There's a difference between really saying an affirmation and speaking with conviction than really just talking it through. So I was one of those people when I first started thinking about affirmations and listening to people talk about them and reading about them. I was one of those people that kind of thought that they were okay, but I wasn't really convinced that that was, the truth. So there's a difference. So when you're doing your affirmations, I really encourage you to speak with conviction, to write them down and really talk them into existence, will them into existence. And, if there's a regular activity that you do on a daily basis, that's where you should be doing your affirmations: on your way to work, having lunch, before you enter a room for a meeting, before you open the door at home each evening, brushing your teeth, going to the bathroom, whatever it is. You want to take the place where you want to take that time to really do your affirmations, and you want them in front of you. You definitely want them in front of you so that you can make sure that you're constantly staying focused on the positive affirmations that that mean most to you. So this is one that I am doing every single day with Robert. Each and every day, someone somewhere needs my services. My job is to find that person. And so I have it on our computer. I have it on our mirror in the bathroom. I have it at the office that Robert and I have. And it's an index card that I just carry with me. And one of the things that I was reading in this book was, you know, about reading your affirmations and really believing what you're reading. And it was called The 7 Levels of Communication. And this book is a really great, very fast read. And it's about a story that about this one realtor and how he changes his attitude and how he changes his life. And so these 7 levels of communication, as you can see here, is a lot of people think that, you know, advertising on Facebook or posting a picture or things like that is really going to like take care of your business, right? But that's not really where you're going to have your most impact in not only telling people about your business, but them actually valuing you as an influencer, as somebody who really knows what they're doing. And so the book was very, very good for me to read because it reminded me of how I am, you know, how people affect me. So if people send me a message on Facebook, I may read it. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to respond to it. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to show up to it. But if somebody, you know, writes me a note or gives me a personal call or sends me a personal note, all of those things, you know, coupled together, you know, make a difference for me. And so part of the book, and I'm reading it through, and I'm going to do the second part tomorrow, but basically this book again starts your day with affirmations and gratitude. Every major book I read, this is the theme, the running theme. And this is why it's so innately important for anybody in business to have the right mindset. And so when you have your daily affirmations and your gratitude, these are statements of who you are and who you want to be and who you will be, okay? And then the daily urgency reminder, do it now. So whatever it is that you have on the docket, whatever it is that you want to accomplish for the day, do it now needs to be running in your mind all the time. Do it now, do it now, do it now. Not I'll do it later. Okay, so your business should fulfill your purpose. Your purpose should be a vehicle for helping you live and leave your legacy. This number 4 is my favorite. Build your relationships, not your marketing budget. So a lot of people in business, they say, well, if I put, you know, $1,000 into ads, or if I buy Facebook ads, or if I do this, I'm not saying that it's the wrong thing to do, but I'm saying if you're investing in your relationships, if you're building the influence in that part of your life, you're going to be rewarded back. Okay, so building the relationships and not your marketing budget is a key component to anything that you're doing. So an example is showing up to an event. A lot of people say, well, my person never showed up. How come your people aren't showing up? Well, one of the reasons why people don't show up is because there's no personal connection. There's no personal contact. And so if you were invited on Facebook, would you show up to an event? You know, if you were texted an invitation, would you show up? Would you respond? If you received a hand personal note written to you about an event, would you be more likely to put that on your calendar than if you saw it on Facebook? If you received a personal phone call after you received that handwritten note, would it make you more apt to show up to that event? And if you received an invite by face-to-face, meaning if I showed up at your house or at your place of work, or we had a lunch date, or we saw each other at Starbucks or whatever, and I invited you to something, would you be more apt to want to attend my event and be more engaged because you saw me personally, because you heard the excitement in my voice, because you saw how I felt about what I was telling you, okay? So these are kinds of the tools that I was reminded about, you know, while I was reading this book, and I loved it because it's all the things that I innately do organically, but I forget, you know, along the way. So when you're first excited about something, there's no issue on that. But as you know, start to get comfortable with where you're at, you forget. So growth only occurs in a state of discomfort, right? So if you're comfortable, you're going to just sort of, kind of be a little more lackadaisical. You're not going to kind of have that enthusiasm that you used to have all the time. And, it's interesting because I bring it back to when I was a talent agent, and when I could get on the phone with a casting director and really describe to that casting director how I felt about an actor or why I thought that actor would be good for a role, when I had the opportunity to give my, emotion in my voice, okay, I always got the meeting. But if I emailed that emotion, or I, sent, a letter about that emotion with just a picture, nothing ever happened. It wasn't unless I got in front of that casting director or I was able to physically talk to them about why I felt that this person would be right for the job. So this is a reminder, you guys, that when you're not comfortable, you are growing. So when you're not comfortable is, oh, I don't know if I want to make that call. I don't want to be rejected. I'm not sure they want. And that's why I love Susan Harris's training last week, because I love that we were all going out and getting our no's. That was our expectation. Go and get a no. But the fact is, not many of us got no's. We got a lot of, well, let me check that out, or let me watch that video, or yeah, sure, I'll come to your event. But we made the effort to go out there and get no's. And by the way, I just want to thank everybody that trained last week and really stepped in and really brought their vision of what they do for their business. It's so helpful to hear from all of you and hear what you're doing. I really appreciated it. I loved being able to be on and listen to everybody and listen to the comments. And so I just appreciate each and every one of you for contributing and being a part of last week. It was awesome. So do it now. So in the book that I was reading, the writer says, repeat it to yourself 49 times, 3 times a day. Now, I'm not sure why it's 49 times, 3 times a day, but do it now gets ingrained in your brain to just do it. Whatever it is, just do it. The urgency is important. And that's something that, we kind of slack on and we kind of procrastinate on. It's something we all do. And this is a way that maybe we can feed our brain with some positivity of do it now, 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 do it now. So if you can put that into your, and by the way, that's anything in your life, not Miriam, but anything, everything that you want to get accomplished, you want to have your brain telling you, do it, do it, do it, make it happen, make it happen. So we always come back to belief and desire. And that was the very first thing that when I got started with Miriam, I was reminded by Jeff Olson, by the leadership that got me involved. Karen and Anna and John were the first people that got me involved with Miriam. And all they spoke about was belief and desire and why they believed so much in what we had. And what's interesting now, 5 years later, is that belief and desire, is a roller coaster, it goes up and down, but one of the things that has stayed very, very strong in my mind is that I believe in the products of Miriam. I believe in what they have done for me. I believe in what they've done for people that I know, and I believe in what they will continue to do over time. And so because of that, my desire to share this product, share the vision, share what I know is exciting, and it makes it very strong for me. So I have a lot of belief, I have a lot of desire. And then I've learned over time to be very, very intentional about that, right? So I've learned intentionality through many things by reading. And I was talking last night with a friend and I was saying, it is really one of the things that I think is most taken for granted in business is that you do take advantage, you do take for granted the things you learn along the way. So if you took the money out of the equation, if you took financial out of the equation, is there anything that you could say that you're grateful for that you've learned in your journey with Miriam, whether it's the beginning of your journey or you're now 5 years in? And I was sharing that, one of the things that I think I'm most grateful for that I never, ever thought was possible, because I thought, of course, I own my own business. I didn't think I had all that much to learn, is that I've evolved as a person immensely, just by the books that I've read, the people that I've associated with, the things that I've learned, and the constant growth mode that I'm in. And so that's exciting to me. So had I not had any financial success here, I can honestly say I've had a lot of personal success here, because I've been able to grow as a person, and, in many, many ways. And I don't know that we share that enough, or that we're grateful enough for that growth. And all of us on this mastermind have that same thing. I know we've all experienced that, whether, we take that for granted or not, and we think that that's supposed to happen. But in 20 years of having my own company, and, another 15 or so before that, I don't recall in my business life people pouring in lots of personal development for me, and, helping me to find ways to grow as a human being. I don't recall that ever happening. So I feel very, very grateful for that. And that's helped me too with my intentionality of why I feel grateful to be part of this company and part of this experience. And then of course, action, that's our, just do it now, just do it now, whatever it is, just do it. And I know that we fight ourselves all the time. I do too. I fight myself all the time, but I came back from my vacation, and that's what's really important about vacation, is because you're supposed to enjoy yourself, take a break, not do the things that you do every day, but really kind of take inventory of what it is you're doing, and really look at the way you're doing it, and kind of take an inventory. And that's what I did. And I felt great about it. I felt great about the whole experience, and I came back really, really excited to get my business going again. So, and speaking of that, this Thursday, Robert and I get to go to the Viziris and share some information about Nerium. So I wanted to put that up there really quick. For those of you in Southern California who are near this venue, it's always a great event. And of course, it's always great to run into people and learn a little bit more about what we've got. So great place to take guests and everything like that. So anyway, you guys, that is what I wanted to share with you today. And tomorrow I have a second part to that, but I wanted to just kind of give you an overview of this book that I read, because I think it's so incredibly simple, right? It's simple, everything that we already know, everything that we already have experienced, but just a reminder of how we can put these easy things into our life and really get something out of it. So the main thing is this goes everywhere with me in my book, on my everything everywhere, because I want to meet people that I can be of service to, and I can help do whatever it is they want to do. And so I encourage each and every one of you to do that too. And small things, but things that you can do it now and make it happen. So I want to open it up real quick if anyone has any comments or anything.
Annie, this is Breeze. Can you put that up again? The everyday, each and every day.
Yeah. Oh, here.
Each and every day.
Each and every day, someone somewhere needs my services. My job is to find that person. I want to tell a quick story that I forgot to tell you. So we walked onto this place called the Napili Resort, and we were standing on the putting green. And there was a gentleman who was putting, and he was, just putting away. And I said, do you play golf around here? Because my husband here is looking for the Skins game. And he goes, oh, no, I don't play golf at all. He goes, I'm just doing this for fun and whatever. And we struck up a conversation. And we ended up having a great conversation. And that's when he brought me back to his wife, and we started talking about gratitude. And then we ended up having dinner that night and whatever. And I asked him a lot of questions. I've learned on this Zoom about asking questions, so he's a financial planner in San Diego, very successful. And he was talking about, what his company does. And I said, what was the thing that was the tipping point in your business that made you successful? When did that happen, and how did that happen? And he said, Annie, that's a great question. I don't get asked that question very often. And he said, it was one person. one person changed my business completely. I said, oh my gosh, you're kidding. He said, yep. He goes, I met a guy. What he does is he does a lot of financial planning, and he does it now for like the Southern California Edison, for people that have pension plans and things like that. So he has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients that are going into retirement, and he helps them to keep their money for a long period of time. And he said he met one guy who was retiring from Southern California Edison, and he was getting his pension package, and he set him up to have a kind of a, money every month so that he could live with his pension and this and that while doing investments, very conservative. And he was talking about that, and he said that one guy introduced him to 6 or 7 other guys that were doing the same thing, and those 6 or 7 guys introduced him to 6 or 7 more guys, and now he has 800, 900, 1,000 people that do the same thing. And he says, I don't need any more business. He said, I want business, and I don't say no to business, but to tell you the truth, I mean, this one guy set me up for a lifetime of business. And you know what, guys? We're in the same deal. We have the same deal here. One person can change your entire life. So that's why I have this. My job is to find that person, and I have to go through many, many, many people, but I can find that one person. And hey, if I'm lucky, it might be 2, maybe 3, who knows? But the reality is one person can change your whole life. So anyway, that was a good reminder, Breeze. Thank you. Anybody else have anything? No? Okay. Well, it was great to see all of you today. And
Annie, can I say something? First of all, you look great. I love your hair. It looks so pretty today.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome home. I just want to add to that. I just have to say, you're absolutely right. And about one person can change your life. And I just have to tell you guys, when I first started, I never thought this was going to work. I was a skeptic. I didn't believe the business model at all, because I'd done it so many times. But I knew the products worked, and I just thought, what the heck, I'll give it a try. And that's when, honestly, I handed the bottle to Robert and Annie. Never did I ever think that they would ever do the business model. They were business people. They were sharp. I never thought they would ever do something else like this. And, it didn't even dawn on me, but I did the activity, and I got into the mode of what the leaders tell you to do, the simple activity, and not thinking about the results. And look what happened in my life. I mean, Annie and Robert came in and just started rocking. And so, Annie, you've changed my life. So thank you. And thank you. I never knew, just by handing out the bottle, you guys, one person. And there you go. So thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Annie, I love that too. I love that, the power of one. And I was on a phone call just before our training call with my sister, and she reminded me of something so important. And that's why these masterminds are so important to us, because like you said earlier in your training, we go along life and all of a sudden we forget things that are vitally important, that can totally change your business, a relationship. And my sister reminded me of something this morning. I went, oh, thank you. I forgot about that. And then you're reminding us that we're going to go through some people, but we can find that one person, and it's going to totally change our businesses. So the power of one, I'm hanging on to that. Thanks.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks, Susie. Thanks, Karen. That's really nice. I'm really glad. And
Annie, can I add to that? It's Connie.
Sure, Connie.
The personal development is amazing. The other thing that I found is the people in this company. I've never seen such support and welcoming, and people that want you to succeed. And that to me is just amazing. It's amazing.
Well, I would agree with you. I've definitely, and I don't take that for granted at all. And it's a constant reminder. So thank you, Connie. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Guys, I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow, and I have some more stuff to share. And of course, I want to leave you with this. Today is the 22nd. That means tomorrow is inventory day. That means take a look at your business today. Screenshot where you're at. Okay, so that tomorrow on the 23rd, you can see what is going on from your business, of where you're at from all the new business up until the 23rd until tomorrow. And then tomorrow we take it from the 23rd to the 31st, and that's where we make magic happen. Okay, so take a snapshot of where you're at, and then we'll figure out where we're going. Okay, all right, you guys have an awesome day. Happy Monday, and thank you guys for showing up.
Thank you, Annie.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Danny.
Danny, that was awesome. You're amazing.
Annie. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Annie.